Look at the headline, Complete Disarmament. He's not just tweeting, he's issuing a geopolitical ultimatum wrapped in a peace treaty. This isn't content, it's a regime change for Gaza, executed via Truth Social.
It's a press release with more exclamation points than usual. You're treating a political announcement like a Fed rate hike. The market doesn't care about the Board of Peace because it doesn't have a ticker, MARA.
It matters because the timing is the signal. He's framing Israel's security as guaranteed by his deal, effectively monetizing the peace process. Investors see that narrative shift instantly. They know he's positioning himself as the sole arbiter of stability.
And yet DJT rose just 3%. That is a whisper. If the market were noticing a historic disarmament deal, we'd see a gap up. We'd see a flat line. The tape doesn't care about your narrative of sole arbiter. It cares that volume was thin.
It's a slow burn. He's dismantling the old order phase by phase. He even threatens to pull his AG nominee if senators don't bend. That's not noise, that's leverage. He's telling the Senate he can execute them politically. And they're listening.
He's threatening to withdraw a nominee who is already acting. It's a tantrum dressed up as strategy. And look at the rest of the tape. QQ edged up 0.1%, IWM edged up 0.4%. The broader market marched on, completely ignoring his political hostage-taking.
Because they're smart, they see the structural risk he's embedding. He's praising mediators, Egypt, Qatar, Rakai, to bypass Congress entirely. He's building an executive pipeline that makes legislation obsolete. That is a massive consolidation of power.
He's praising mediators because that's what presidents do when they want credit. Meanwhile, crypto is doing nothing. Bitcoin edged down more than 21%, Ethereum edged up 20%. If his power consolidation were real market-moving news, digital assets would be swinging wildly. They're flat. You're chasing ghosts.
You call it flat. I call it suppressed volatility before the storm. He's consolidating the narrative of peace so he can dismantle the opposition later. He says the threat from October 7 will not rebuild. That is a promise of perpetual authority, Decker. It's chilling.
It's a bumper sticker slogan, and yet DJT is barely up 30%, sitting in the 36th percentile. The market is literally giving him a shrug for perpetual authority. If that were a signal, his own stock would be flying. It's not. It's confetti.
Don't confuse liquidity with indifference. He's rewriting the rules of engagement in real time while you count pips on a chart that won't reflect the consequences until it's too late.
The tape doesn't lie, Mara, your novel does. Keep writing your thriller. I'll be here when the market wakes up and realizes no one was listening.
That's the show. We're on Spotify and YouTube. If this earned it, like, subscribe, tell a friend. And housekeeping, the machine that writes this gets tuned constantly for cleaner news. The numbers are real, the jokes are not.